Hi, everybody. So, just busy setting up. Okay, I'm going to be chatting to Natalie Wilson. She is head of food at EatOut and Food24 and New Media, and we're going to be chatting to her about the situation with the restaurants at the moment. So I'm just waiting. There you go. Keep getting better at this each week. Yeah. Thank you so much for everybody for joining. I think this is really, really quite an important conversation because, hi, how are you?
Hey, there we go. It worked.
Yeah, thank goodness.
I'm well.
You
How are
never know with new
you?
technology every now and then. It can be a little bit up and down. Are you well? Are you keeping safe?
Yes, very well. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. And likewise?
Yeah, I know everybody at the moment with I think New Media and Media 24 and View 24, you're still all working at home.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, for
Yeah.
the foreseeable future, there's no indication that that's going to change anytime soon. So we're making it work.
Yeah. So now you are the head of food. What a
Mm,
great job. Like,
I know,
what is,
right?
yeah. What does that entail? What do you do every day?
Well, I wear many different hats in my role,
Yeah.
but basically it's sort of editorial guidance, steering the ship editorially in terms of what we cover on Eat Out and on Food24 and what we don't cover. You know, there's a lot happening in the market, so making sort of clear decisions about what we look at there, and then also sort of reviewing, making sure we're on top of trends and what's happening in the market, and specifically on Eat Out, making sure that we're on top of all of the many changes that are happening in the industry at the moment. It's sort of an ever moving feast. So, you know, there's constant sort of messaging around restaurants, you know, having real challenges in terms of keeping their doors open. Unfortunately, you know, we're hearing about really iconic spaces that have had to close,
Yeah.
hopefully temporarily.
Yeah.
And then also all of the legislative changes and the regulation changes. There's a lot to keep on top of. It's
Yeah.
sort of ever moving. But yeah, it's a huge topic, and I'm really, really pleased that we're able to talk about it with you today. Because I know you're a big fan of restaurants, aren't you?
I'm the biggest fan of restaurants. And you know what's so funny? I mean, I've been on television for like forever now, almost 18 years. And it was really restaurants that almost started it. I mean, I started out with top billing, which means I got to go to all of the fancy restaurants across the world. I got to review all the restaurants across the world. I got to
Wow.
interview and speak to all of the best chefs. So it's really been a huge part of my career. So, you know, it's the conversation obviously still has to happen even when we can't enjoy them as much as what we
Yeah,
want
for
to.
sure. For sure.
So, restaurants in South Africa have been given the green light that they're allowed to open, they're allowed to operate, but obviously under strict guidance and
Hmm.
strict rules, of
Yeah.
course. Um, but I think it was a little bit too late. A lot of these restaurants had already closed doors. How many have closed that you know of?
Well, gosh, I mean, it's the thing is, we could put a stake in the ground and tell you an exact number, and it will change literally seconds after. So,
Yeah,
what we do know is that a large percentage, we think at least 30% of restaurants are under risk of closure currently in
yeah,
South Africa. Yeah, unfortunately, look, the restaurants came to the party at the start of the lockdown, you know, and very clearly understood what the messaging was from government and played their part in terms of pivoting their business strategies. You know, we saw restaurants introducing deliveries if they hadn't before. You know, really high-end restaurants offering quite, you know,
yeah.
luxurious boxes and that sort of thing. And then also all the way down to the smaller end of the market, you know, individual family-owned spaces, hopping on motorbikes and delivering food, you know, to their neighbors and those in their neighborhood, supporting them. Also
Yeah.
pivoting to, you know, perhaps selling items like deli style from their premises, turning into sort of makeshift shops and alcohol spaces, you
And
know,
I've heard
places
of
where
a
you
lot
could
of
buy
restaurants.
alcohol.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I heard a lot of restaurants that also opened up as soup kitchens and
Yes.
lending their kitchens to the communities to be able to provide food, for people in need, which was
Yeah.
amazing. So they really
Yeah.
did come to the party. And
Yes.
unfortunately, now, they are now the people that are suffering the most.
Yeah.
Do you think it's the ban on alcohol, which is affecting them the most? Because now people, if you're not going to go to a fancy restaurant if you can't buy a fancy bottle of wine.
Yeah, look, that certainly plays into it. It's not the only factor. You know, obviously there's a huge factor around social distancing measures. And
Yeah,
so the experience of being in a restaurant is quite different to what it was before. And I think also, you know, the patrons who used to quite easily make the decision to go to a restaurant and go for their dinner, you know, off the cuff, make that decision. It's obviously a more thought out and conscious decision now. And people are nervous, right? Because it's entering into the public space. But What's really important, I think, for people to understand who haven't ventured out is, and we're doing some of that on their behalf, hopefully, and they're seeing that on Eat Out, is that restaurants are taking it very seriously. They are implementing all the required protocols and really making sure that they're adhering to the policies set out by government so that they can trade legally and properly and welcome customers and have them give them as much of that experience as they can. So our number one message to consumers is, if you feel comfortable to, by all means, please get out there and support these guys and go to your favorite restaurants, support the guys in your neighborhood or the spaces you would have traveled to go and have that experience, because they need you. They need you desperately. And that puts the money right in their pocket and gives them the chance to really keep their staff going. That's the important thing that people don't really realize until this new sort of movement, that Job Save Lives movement that's been happening on social media, is that these restaurants don't just provide a lovely experience, but they employ up to 1 million people in South Africa. So, and all those people have families who depend on the cycle. So going out for a meal is a really small gesture that benefits not only you, but actually in ways that people might not understand, families and the wider citizenship of South Africa. So it's a chain, it's an ecosystem. Yeah.
I was following Eat Out on Instagram, and I saw just page after page of these restaurant owners holding up cardboards of all the people that work for them and that are all going to be really suffering now. So let's speak about some of these campaigns that you're working on at the moment. Job Saves Lives. Okay, so tell us about that movement.
So Job Saves Lives, a lot of these movements came organically out of the chef industry, with restaurants really seeking to find ways where they can show people visually what the impact is that this is having on them. The regulations that they're adhering to are really stringent, and we're trying to find a workable solution with restaurant groups and with government to find a middle ground. But as things stand currently, it's really challenging. And so a lot of them have already had to make layoffs. If they've closed their doors, they've stopped paying those staff potentially entirely. And for a lot of them, actually, they opened and then they shut again. They actually decided it wasn't financially feasible for them to open the doors. And so they've gone back to solely just delivery or takeout and offering as a soup kitchen. And so we launched the Eat Out Restaurant Relief Fund on the 24th of April to really support those guys who were using their kitchens and looking to continue to pay their staff, with the added benefit of then feeding those who most need it in South Africa. And so that's a real double whammy, right? Yeah. And so
I think that's the smartest, most amazing, because you can sponsor all of these restaurants and donate something to them just so that they are able to just pay their staff and hold out just for that little while longer until this is all over. I was surprised that the government didn't come on board, actually.
Yeah.
To try and contribute a little bit to keep these people in.
Unfortunately, look, I think government has set aside huge, financial funds for enterprise to dip into, but nothing specifically for the industry, and that is a real gap, right? So they are, arguably one of the hardest hit industries in this space, and nothing specific has been set up for them. So that's a real challenge. But corporate definitely came to the mix, right? We saw a huge number of businesses really come to the party. New media definitely got involved. A lot of the wineries got involved, Graham Beck and Steenberg and those guys, San Pellegrino, who's been a big supporter of the restaurant industry over time. So we definitely saw some great traction at the start, and we've got great results off of that, but the need doesn't stop. The need is always there. People are hungry day in and day out. And for a lot of people, the meals they get from these sort of functioning soup kitchens, really high-end chefs, functioning soup kitchens, sometimes that's their only meal of the day. And so that's really important that we continue to keep driving funds. We channel every cent back into restaurants. Absolutely, we keep absolutely none of it. It's purely funneled through to restaurants who submit to us proof that those funds are being used to feed people. And we, down to the meal, we see every meal. Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's amazing. Like Eat Out really had, you guys had your finger on the pulse, because I think this has been going since the 24th of April already, which is, pretty much in the beginning of things where you think of where we are now. And I mean, how has it been? Have you seen the effects, I suppose, of your input?
Yes, very much so. So both, consumers like, everyday people like you and I, and also the corporates who came to the party, we managed to raise just over 1.5 million, and we've managed to feed over 700,000 people, right? So 700,000 meals have come straight out of that money, but we're continuing. And so we've got a new drive this week. We're asking people to donate 67 Rand, right? Which is like a sandwich and a
Definitely.
coffee. Yeah, totally. And if you can, I would implore people, if you are still in employment and are able to, obviously loads of people have been affected, but if you can give that little bit back, 67 Rand or whatever you can put into the fund, that is it makes a massive impact. So we've seen great traction off of that already, but we want to see even more. And Saturday is going to be our big hit. We want to do that. And other people are doing great things as well. Ladles of Love, Extreme Cuisine, those guys, there's a lot of soup kitchens who are trying to, make 67,000 cups of soup, and Ladles of Love are trying to set the record for most number of sandwiches made. There's a lot of effort going in there, and I would encourage everyone to support those efforts as far as you can, and support again. If the month rolls over and you get another paycheck and you feel that you can, please keep going, because, we really need to keep these restaurants' doors open, and we need to keep bellies full.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the 1 million seats on the streets.
Yes, so there are some industry groups that we work really closely with on Eat Out, and we make sure that we give coverage to the efforts that they're putting out there. And so the Restaurant Association of South Africa, RASA, they've been sort of corralling efforts from restaurants, and they are putting together a peaceful protest, which they're planning for Wednesday the 22nd in Cape Town, and actually potentially nationally, where they're asking restaurants to take their empty tables and chairs between 12 and 2 on Wednesday the 22nd and put them out in the streets, right? And actually create a really visual picture of those businesses that are affected. And, often we think about restaurants and we see like these glamorous pictures of them, but there's so many small guys who are just on your street, right? On your local street or in town. And so they're really trying to visually show government that, we're here. Look at us. We are absolutely here and we're being impacted. They will stay open during that time, but they want to really make a visual statement.
Yeah. And then there's Serve Us Please. So obviously with the 1 million seats on the streets, that's just moving out the chairs and tables onto the streets. That's going to be relatively peaceful and calm, and outsiders aren't encouraged to come and help or
it's restaurant focused. Yeah, they're trying to raise awareness for sure. Yeah.
But then there's the Serve Us Please, and I know a lot of people were panicking that calling people to a protest is actually going to spread the virus a little bit quicker, but have no fear, it is going to be done within the guidelines of a protest during the pandemic. So how is this going to be done?
Yes, so Serve Us Please is an initiative, that was launched by some individuals, right, who had sort of family links into the restaurant industry, and they are also holding a peaceful protest, but theirs is on Friday, 24th of July in Cape Town from 10 till 12, and they're asking restaurateurs and anyone that's been affected in the service industry, so bar staff, waiters, and the general public, if they fancy it and they feel comfortable, to come out and join this protest. They're going to be standing apart, 1.5 meters apart, with the use of actual ribbons between them, to make sure that all the guidelines are being followed. And really, again, they're going to try and sort of map themselves out across in the CBD, down Ruland Street, sort of meeting at Parliament. So all of these are trying to create a really visual impact, which is exactly what the Job Saves Lives movement was trying to do on social, is visualizing for people who are at home and potentially don't understand the scale of the impact of this, that actually these are people's lives and their livelihoods that are being affected, really directly affected by all of this that's going on. So we would encourage anyone who feels comfortable for both of these peaceful protests to get involved where you can, and reach out to us at Eat Out. We can always pass on the details if anyone needs to know more. We're very pro encouraging people to get involved if they feel passionate about it, which restaurant goers are by nature quite passionate people.
So myself and my partners at Finery Gin have just launched, and it's going to be in store soon, an alcohol-free gin, which is going to be available everywhere.
Yes.
And so what we are pledging to do is every bottle sold, we're going to donate 10 Rand to the Eat Out.
Amazing.
So important. I think everybody's going to have to be putting their money in and saving their favorite restaurants.
Yes, that's brilliant. And as it's non-alcoholic gin, they can buy it right now, right?
I know. And it tastes like gin. It's delicious.
Amazing.
So I'm hoping it'll have a placebo effect. So that after a few, I feel just as jolly as I did before with the regular.
Absolutely. Oh, that's brilliant. That's really excellent. Thank you for the support. I mean, that's great. Yeah.
I'll send you some. I'll have to phone and ask Cyril if I'm allowed to send you the alcohol one as well.
And maybe at a later stage, yeah, we'll have to follow up on that one for sure.
Yeah,
Excellent.
exactly. But thank
That's
you so
great.
much for all of the work
Mm,
that you've been doing. I think you guys were really on it from the beginning, supporting
mm,
this industry that we really love so much. And you know, the
mm,
foodie community in South Africa really is so tight knit, and it's
mm,
full of super amazing people. So I really
mm,
hope that we can help to keep it all together, and
mm.
hopefully we can all be enjoying beautiful food and amazing meals at our
Absolutely.
restaurants really, really soon.
Absolutely. Look, I think, we'll continue to keep covering what's happening in the industry. And if I can encourage anyone, out there that's really keen to get involved, there's three really simple ways to get involved. And the
Yeah.
first is to, if you feel comfortable, to go to restaurants and eat out, go and support these guys. This puts money directly in their hands, and tip generously if you can. And the
Generosity,
second,
that is so important.
so
Give
important.
more than what you would ever give, because these
Yeah.
people are really, really suffering.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
wait till you see the reaction, right? I mean, where I've been doing it, I've been going to restaurants and been really safe and keeping it really, really
yeah.
safe and hygienic. I felt very comfortable doing it. And when you tip staff generously, the look on their faces, it tells you absolutely everything you need to know.
No, you're gonna make me
Yeah.
cry.
And
I'm already like the most emotional
it's
person
intense.
ever.
It's intense, but it's true. It's
Yeah,
serious. And the second thing is to, if you don't feel comfortable to eat out your favorite space, support them by ordering in.
yeah,
Definitely order off directly if you can, but off of any platform that supports them. That's brilliant. And if you
yeah.
can, buy a little bit of merchandise or whatever they're selling.
Great.
And the third way is to donate to the fund. And you can do that directly through us. Or you can absolutely support by buying some really brilliant non-alcoholic gin and then support them
Yay.
directly. So, yeah,
Yeah. Thank
yeah,
you so
any little bit
much.
helps.
JD
Yeah.
Batters, wish this will just go away already. Oh, me too. I'm so over this. I
Yeah.
really, really want this to be over now. But I've been going to a few restaurants and I've been obviously very cautious. We
Yeah.
have to wear a mask. We've got to realize that it's there, because
Yeah.
I don't want anyone hanging out with my granny who's been
Mm,
hanging out with all of their friends and not wearing a mask and not washing their hands. We do have to listen to what the scientists are
yeah.
saying. We've got to stay safe. We've got to learn to live with this almost. But
Yeah.
we do have to learn to live with it in a way that
Yeah.
we've got to be able to go to our restaurants and support these businesses. So I've been feeling very, very safe at restaurants when I have been going. And I think
Yeah.
a lot of these restaurants have been putting in all the measures and really going over and above
Yeah.
to make sure that everybody and all their patrons are safe.
So did you have a good experience? Did you enjoy it?
Wonderful. Yeah.
Yes.
No one loves restaurants more than I do.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
That's
yeah.
great. Thank you for
Yeah,
supporting.
I
It's
went last
huge.
week. I went to Protege in Franschhoek, which is
Oh,
just
wow.
so nice,
Yeah.
and really like had the best experience. There were so few people there though, and we weren't allowed to
Mm,
have alcohol there, which was
mm,
fine. But I missed the bustle and I missed the people, and I felt for them. My heart breaks for a lot of these
yeah.
restaurants. So
Yeah.
let's keep it going. So I'm going to be putting all of your swipe ups and all of your things on my
Excellent.
IG story, so that everybody can swipe up and donate, of course, to the Eat Out Relief Fund.
Please
It's really
do.
important. Thank you so much for
Thank
doing
you.
this with me, and
Yes.
good luck
Oh,
with the rest of our COVID lockdown.
yes. Thank you so much. Even Siri on my side said, my pleasure. He was activated by your voice. That's amazing. Brilliant. Thanks for your
Even
support,
Siri's
Jeannie.
got manners these days. We love
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
So, thank you very, very much. I really do appreciate this chat. And thank
Take
you to
care.
all of you at home for listening and to really wanting to be a part of helping our food community in South Africa. So thank you very much for joining us. I'll post this and then I'll put a little swipe up to all the ways that you can help as well. Mwah. Have a beautiful
Lovely.
afternoon, everybody.
Thanks,
Ciao.
guys. Stay
Bye.
safe.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.